Hey, what's going on to my dreamers, believers, and high achievers? Look, this podcast is called Desire to Dream, and we're going to help you build the bridge so that you can go from your job to your dream. So if you have a 9 to 5 and you're looking for a side hustle, or you're looking to start another business or transition into another business, get a promotion, whatever the case may be, I'm going to help you build a framework so that you can build your dream job or your dream career or your dream business while you're working your 9 to 5. I'll see you on the other side.
Yeah, desire to dream. What do you mean? Take a good look at my life. Yeah, my future it gleams. Desire to dream. What do you mean? I cannot lose, cause I got God on my team.
Welcome to Desire to Dream, the podcast that ignites vision, strengthens faith, and empowers you to unlock your God given potential. I'm your host, Lowell Wilder, entrepreneur, published author, international speaker, and business coach. If you're listening right now, it's because you believe that you were built for something greater. It's time to unleash that potential. So let's get into it. Hey, look, I'm just going to keep it real with you, right? Like, I work a full-time job as a sales professional, outside sales professional for a local manufacturer here in Brevard County, Florida. And while I'm doing that, I am also building a successful mortgage business and brand, Loans with Low, through Gravity Home Loans. And I'm telling you, it's two different clients, two different types of value that I'm bringing to my clients and customers, but I got the same mission, and that's to impact and to leave a legacy. But here's the truth: your full time job doesn't have to be the enemy, right? Your full time job doesn't have to compete with your dream. It can actually help you fund it. Because while most people quit their jobs to start a business, they're not actually building their business. They're just going to transitioning from one thing to another. But what if you can create the business, create the brand while you're still working your 9 to 5? And I think that is just what's very important. And that's what I'm going to help talk about in this podcast episode. People often ask, Lo, how are you doing this? How are you working a 9 to 5? How are you creating a business as a mortgage professional? How are you a content creator working on a podcast? How are you a youth director at a youth ministry at your church? How are you, having time for your family, your wife, your kids? And I'm telling you guys that it's discipline. Discipline is the key. And we talked about that. And I also talked about my routines and how I can put things together so that I'm being very intentional, so that I'm providing the best service for my clients, for my customers, and still making time for my wife and for my children. Look, that's important, right? So here's the thing. If I'm waiting for my customer for a lunch, I can be making phone calls rather than just sitting there listening to music. I can make lead calls either to potential painting contractors or to clients, to realtors, try to follow up on a question that they may have on their mortgage. Whatever the case may be, I can call my loan processor. I can call my loan assistant. I can call my my mortgage broker. Right? These are this is my team, people that I work with on a consistent basis, so that I can like follow up with them and answer some questions that I may have, or maybe ask some questions that I might have. I can do this during that downtime rather than just being on the phone, looking at Facebook, and I can just be doing something that generates revenue. So look, I start my day really early. I wake up about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. I get on my King's accountability call. That takes about a half an hour. And then from 5:30 to 7:30, I'm planning out my day. I'm being very intentional with what I'm doing. I'm writing down the clients that I want to see, the clients that I want to speak to. I'm planning out my day. Which realtors am I going to contact today? Who can I call when I'm in that idle time that I'm talking about? I am being very intentional with my time. And I think that if you want to create a business, if you want to start a business, if you want to scale your business, then lead generation calls is very important. Building relationships with your partners, building relationships with your clients or customers is a critical piece of growing and scaling your business. If you're not doing that, and you're asking yourself, why isn't my business getting off the ground? Then more than likely you're not making the calls and you're not working on your business. So that is why you have to work on it and you have to block out time so you can make that happen. For me, that's early in the morning. It's while my kids and my wife is sleeping, and I wake up and I begin my day and execute. And so for 2 hours in the morning, I'm putting in that work right before I start my day. Another time that I'm working on things is at night. Like when I'm recording this podcast, typically it's at night or it's between 5:30 and 7:30 in the morning. I want to make sure that the sun's not showing through my screen. I like to do it with this time and this setup because that's my brand and that's what I like to do. Sometimes I'm also working on a message for the youth ministry because I'm also a youth director, and I'm also planning and scheduling times for Zoom calls with my team, my leaders, making sure that, hey, are you speaking this week? What are we doing? We have a curriculum that we created, and I am making sure that they're following it, asking any questions. We have a lot of events. Like this week, we're going to be taking young men to the Summit of Seven over at Eastern Florida College. Like I'm constantly working on networking, serving, working one of these careers, one of these jobs. And the thing about it is this: you have to be intentional with your time. You have to make sure that you're not on idle time. And I still protect a few hours every single day for my wife and for my two young kids because success at home is just as important as success in business. My family is important to me. It's one of my core values. So I have to be intentional, making sure that I'm spending time with my wife and my kids. Listen, it's not magic, it's discipline, it's focus and consistency. So, no wasted time, no idle motion, right? Just high level execution built on clear vision and a strong why. My wife, my kids is my why, my legacy, right? What I'm going to leave when I leave this earth, my purpose. My why is very important in what I do. And so you have to make sure that you know these things and you're very clear so that you can make sure that you get these things done and you do it efficiently. So here are 6 tips that have helped me that I want to share with you that's going to help you build your dream while handling your 9 to 5. Tip number 1 is master your morning. I just talked about that. Making sure that when you wake up every single day, you're intentional with your time. You're taking advantage of your time. I'm taking advantage from 5:30 to 7:30. Those 2 hours, I'm getting a lot of things done, right? Your discipline in the dark creates success in the spotlight. What you do when nobody's up, when nobody's watching, is going to reflect and put you on the spotlight. So people see the success that I have, and it's because of the time that I'm putting in the dark. So that brings us to number 2, which is to work smart with your downtime. So, what does that mean? That means that you might have to open up your phone. If you have an iPhone, there's a part where you can look at your productivity on your phone. You can see how much time you're spending on social media, spending on watching Netflix, watching Prime videos. But if you're spending too much idle time looking at your phone, if you're spending too much idle time being on TV and playing video games, then more than likely your money ain't where it needs to be, your career's not where it needs to be, and you're not living life with purpose. You're living life by accident. Success isn't always about working more, it's about using time more intentionally. So make sure that you're using your time intentional. So it brings us to number 3, which is to create a time block weekly. Make sure that you're spending time every week planning out your days. I don't want to hear no excuses about why I didn't have time. You need to create time for that time so that you can plan out your week, plan out your day. That's how you're able to execute at a high level. If you're tired of working your 9 to 5, then you have to shift from just doing work to creating a plan so that work can get done timely, efficiently, so that you can be productive on a higher level. Okay. Because what you're doing in your 9 to 5, I guarantee you, no matter what it is you're doing. Now, some people look, I'm busy and I get it. But if you want to have a vision of creating a side business, a side hustle, then you have to be intentional with your time. Clarity kills chaos, but chaos creates distractions. Chaos creates setbacks. So if you want to avoid those things, then be clear on your vision, clear on your mission, and create a plan so that you can, attack it and be able to produce more production, more work with a shorter amount of time. So it brings us to number 4, which is to stack skills in your current role. Look, if you're in sales like me, I like to use that as my playground to work on the sales process, develop my communication skills, work on my problem solving skills, work on management, work on customer service. All of these things I am working so that I can elevate my business. I'm extracting what I'm learning on the job site, and I'm taking that, and I'm also taking the things that I'm learning and I'm implementing them so that I can see the production, I can see the results, and it's a work in progress. I can try different things out. Comedians do it all the time. They go to small little hole in the wall comedy shows so that they can try out their new material and see if it's going to work. Try out whatever it is that you want to do. I'm talking about the school teacher that wants to be an insurance agent on the side. I'm talking about the truck driver who wants to be an insurance agent on the side or a salesperson on the side, because most people are in their industry and they think they can't do anything else. I know someone who's a nurse, right? But they have a side business on a travel agency. They're killing it. They're making 6 figures in their travel agency and they're still a nurse. I know someone that personally, through the Eric Thomas community, my man Jamal, who is the 9 to 5 millionaire, who is a police officer for over 20 years, right? And created a multi-million dollar real estate business. Like, you can do it. You don't have to compete with your job. Create a business, a brand, and build your empire while working your 9 to 5, and let the 9 to 5 fund the business. Look, my 9 to 5 jobs paid for this studio. It paid for this $2,500 camera. It paid for this $400 microphone. It paid for the $500, $600 light that I have, right? It paid for all of this. And even in my sales business, the stuff that I do in Fiverr, like the things that it takes to fund Fiverr, creating my LLC, all of these different things. My 9 to 5 funds it. Now, most people say, well, shouldn't you be dedicating your time to your job? I do. I execute at a high level. You go look at my sales right now. I'm up double digits. I've had some months where I hit triple digit gains. Like, you can execute at your position, at your job, whatever role it is, and still build your business and brand. You don't have to do one or the other. You can do two, three, multiple things. You just have to be disciplined, you have to be consistent, and you have to take action. Stop worrying about what other people are thinking and go after the things you want. Go after the things you want and make it happen. Which brings us to number 5, which is to build your brand in public. Let people see the grind. Share your journey. Bones with Low grew because people saw my consistency, they saw my expertise. I'm constantly working in all of my industries simultaneously. For some people, you can't multitask and do all of those things. I know there's a gift in that, but best believe that it's also a muscle that you can work and get better at. You don't have to just be sticking to one thing and one thing only. Like, if you're focused, like, let's say for an example, you have a job as a teacher and you want to build wealth. Well, you can purchase real estate. You can create passive income through real estate deals. You can get someone who can coach you on it. Matter of fact, there's people that if you save the money and pay them, they'll do it for you. They'll fix up the houses. They'll even sell it for you. I mean, they will do everything. So you can't make an excuse that you can't make an excuse that you're not going to be able to get a side business or a side hustle because you don't have time or you don't have money. Like, you need those two things in order for you to get the things that you want in life. Because look, we don't want to work all the way up till we're 70 years old. Like, you want to start thinking about, what can I do to make passive income? What can I do to have something that is mine? Something that I can leave for my children, a legacy. Bringing us to our last one, number 6, which is to guard your energy, not just your time. Protect your peace. Prioritize rest. I talk about that in my podcast before. Prioritize your rest. It's important, it's critical, it's essential, Mental health is key. If you have someone, when they call and you see their name and you already get like, oh, this person's calling me again, you might want to stop answering those calls. You want to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with positive people that are building you up and not tearing you down, that are creating opportunities for you and not closing the door. Stop hanging around people who tolerate you and start hanging around people who celebrate you. Protect your energy at all costs. That's a non negotiable. Focus on your energy because trust me, I do a lot of things and it's not timing and being intentional, it does help. But protecting my energy and making sure that I'm not wasting energy is even more important because I'm able to sustain all the things that I'm doing. So protect your energy at all costs. So here are my final thoughts. You don't have to quit your job to start your calling. I have been doing this for 15 years. I've been a public speaker. I've been able to work 9 to 5. I've been able to serve in my community. Don't wait for the perfect timing. Start building now. Be consistent, get focused. You're not just clocking in, you're cash flowing your future. So here we have it, man. Another episode of Desire to Dream. If you think this episode benefited you, then please share it with somebody. If you haven't already, go ahead and go follow me on Instagram and Facebook, Desire to Dream. Subscribe to the channel, share with a friend, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.